Law enforcement in this country was implemented to protect and serve the citizens of this great nation. As time has passed, this idea of protecting citizens has seemed to diminish and turn into incriminating nonviolent individuals. The police force can make major strides to protect its citizens with a Good Samaritan protection law that would defend a Samaritan, someone who renders aid in emergency to an injured person on a voluntary basis. Usually if a volunteer comes to the aid of an injured or ill person who is a stranger, the person giving the aid owes the stranger a duty of being reasonably careful. This law would be implemented in the city of Manhattan to protect minors that alert the authority of an alcoholic injury or illness. Before, a smart and responsible individual looking out for their friend or a stranger was at risk for being incarcerated. Also, others would be very hesitant to alert the authorities, and sometimes they would not dial 911 because of the threat of being fined and incarcerated. I believe enacting this law will greatly reduce the number of serious alcohol-related injuries and or preventative deaths. Implementing this law in Manhattan would help students and residents have more confidence in the city's law enforcement and help reduce the number of serious party-related injuries and accidents that go untreated. The Good Samaritan law is already implemented throughout the United States, but not in all areas. The law requires individuals who see a problem or an illegal act to intervene and do what they can in their power to stop the issue. This law can greatly benefit the citizens of Manhattan in numerous ways. A study done by the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health says almost half, 48% of all alcohol consumed by college students are underage. That means almost half of the party is underage and half of the drinking population can be afraid to call the police. Many times injuries that happen at parties where there is underage drinking go untreated and potentially putting an individual at greater risk of permanent injury or death. It will most importantly decrease the serious or long-term injuries that go unnoticed and would easily be prevented if a citizen was required to intervene in dangerous altercations or physical distress. If you were to walk around Aggieville on a weekend night, you would eventually and unfortunately come across a physical fight between two people. This was the case in 2007 when an intoxicated man started a fight with a Fort Riley soldier. The two men got into a physical exchange inside a bar, and after a while it moved to the parking lot. The man had pulled out a knife and stabbed the soldier to death. If by law the surrounding individuals in the bar were required to notify the police immediately or intervene, the soldier might still have his life today. The second portion of the law would protect the individual that called a right to civil liberty. Through personal experience, I have attended a party that resulted in a college student becoming too intoxicated and resulting in him being unconscious of his surroundings. The partygoers had tried to wake their friend up. Without success, they began to argue if they should call the police. After 30 minutes of deliberation, the friends decided to call the paramedics. When the police arrived, the students were actually given a citation for underage drinking, and the owner was given a hosting charge. The paramedics came to a diagnosis and said the intoxicated friend had alcohol poisoning, and if they had not called their friend, he could have died or had irreversible brain damage. I think everyone took the right action and should not be punished for saving someone's life. The Good Samaritan protection law would have protected those that did the right thing in that situation. I am proposing a law that requires citizens to step in and help at the side of danger and to call the proper authorities without hesitation due to personal incrimination. The citizen should respond when there are any signs of discomfort or noticeable harm. The Manhattan City Commission can set up a clear system that gives subpoenas to those that did not call the authority in a timely manner. I think the punishment should have due process and be decided through a jury of their peers, which could result in severe punishment. For example, if a bar owner notices an altercation between two customers, the owner should immediately call authority. If the owner is found guilty of neglecting his duty as a Good Samaritan, he will be charged with breaking this law and punishment will follow. I truly believe this will save many lives. Also, the protection aspect of the law would not allow police officers to charge a 911 caller for underage drinking. This Good Samaritan protection law has taken on a different name at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, the Responsible Action Bill, which was proposed by student Morgan Ray and sponsored by State Senator Fred Risser. Ray said, "I truly believe that this bill will help save students' lives. I think that they're going to be much more likely to call authorities, especially if the bill passes as it is, knowing that their friend is also not going to get an underage ticket." Ray also makes a good point that we can have a protection for drug overdoses, we can definitely have one for alcohol. In Indianapolis, Senate Bill 274, a bill that would grant immunity to underage drinkers who seek help for friends, is currently going through the Senate. An Indianapolis Senator, Randy Head, said many students are scared to call for help because they're afraid they might get arrested for underage drinking. Head also says, "What we are trying to achieve is a policy that encourages people to call for help when needed. The student body president from Indiana University said, "Every alcohol-related death is completely preventable if medical attention is sought for the student." If multiple schools have realized this is a major issue and is trying to pass bills in an effort to solve this problem, why are Kansas State and the City of Manhattan not seeking the bill that solves the issue? The Manhattan City Commission statement is to sustain order and protect the public safety, promote public health, preserve the built environment, and enhance economic vitality. The city supports a regional community in which individuals and families develop and thrive. The City of Manhattan is considered a college town with about half the population being college students. Thus, a major concern to protect public safety and promote public health would be to protect the population that intends to promote both of those ideas. The Good Samaritan Protection Law would directly support the Commission's objectives. The Manhattan City Commission should strive to enact this law through the city or Riley County. This law will help citizens live in a safer town when everyone is looking out for one another. This law will not be easy to pass, but it has to start somewhere, and I want to be the one to get this on the path to becoming a law that greatly improves the city. The injury rate in Manhattan in recent years has been on an average of 13 major injuries per weekend that could have been avoided if the paramedics had been called immediately and instead of letting them, quote-unquote, sleep it off. Major injuries are defined by the Mercy Regional Hospital as injuries that result in broken bones or severe blood loss. Many police officers and city officials will argue that we should not be protecting underage drinking. This will not change the amount underage drinking will occur. It will only increase the number of lives saved or prevent major injuries. This will make sure crime in the city doesn't go unnoticed and keeps the citizens alert and safe. On college campuses, the Good Samaritan policy is in effect on over 90 U.S. college campuses. These policies have been proven to encourage students to call for help in an event, an alcohol or other drug overdose. A case study done at Cornell University reviewed data from emergency room and health centers records, calls to emergency medical services, and students' self-report survey date to evaluate the effect the implemented law would be after the first 2 years. The results include consecutive increases in alcohol-related calls for assistance to emergency medical services during the 2-year period. The study also had a survey that asked what the major concerns of not calling the authority, and the major cause was threat of trouble with the authorities. With the help of the citizens of Manhattan and the Riley County Chief of Police, I have high hopes that this city will become a safer place for everyone. With citizens neglecting this law, there will be a precise fine or punishment that corresponds with the amount of preventative damage. The city will be on patrol for any misconduct and will improve the overall well-being in the city. If everyone is by law required looking out for one another, who knows what the implications could be? A crime rate close to 0%? If it is possible, but we will never know without implementing this law.